Hey, this is Chad with Drawn and Cornered. It is October 15th, 2021. We are 2 days removed from my YouTube ban, and I had the appeal come back, and I wanted to let you guys know how that went, along with getting you a little bit of the news. And it's going to be a kind of a broader setup today. First off, the ban went through the appeal process and everything. They still said that even though no information was necessarily misinformed, or there was no medical misinformation in the video whatsoever, they still claim that that's what it was. That's what they upheld the ban. So that video cannot be seen anymore. It doesn't exist. It was the closest thing that came to any medical misinformation in there was something I said Joe Biden could have said if he wanted all of the COVID stuff to kind of disappear and go away, because he has the access to the things that make COVID all but a non-issue for his administration anymore, because, as I said, it is extraordinarily dangerous and should be consistently on your mind every day, but there are also measures out there to make it essentially not something you need to worry about too much, as long as you are doing all the things that they tell you to do and so on. So, however that is, take that for what it's worth. We got our first ban under our belt, and it was for totally ridiculous reasons, but it's been done. Now, to move on to the more important news of the day. Loudoun County in Virginia, the school board there, has been creating a massive stir for quite some months now, just because of the information that they're trying to give to the kids there, whether it comes to CRT, critical race theory, or gender studies, or just the general condescension and dismissiveness they've had towards the parents of that community, who have been very interested in maintaining a sort of an overreach of that school board. They've not really wanted to have it. They've shortened listening times for people to have public discourse. They've shortened those. They've restricted the way that people can get in, how they what they have to provide in order to be able to get in. It's been an utter mess up there. Now, we have found out that one of the fathers that was in there that was pretty agitated, nobody really understood why, but the school board essentially called the cops on him, started talking to him or about him as though he was some sort of domestic terrorist. Turns out that father actually had a daughter that was forcibly sodomized in the school. Now, it's awful. The perpetrator was a gender fluid kid that was allowed into the women's or the girls' locker room, bathroom, because he thinks he's a girl. So that happened. That's egregious enough. Then they took that boy, put him into another school where he did this again. 7 months later. The biggest issue here is, of course, those two massive problems, but also that the school board did not acknowledge that this was happening, did not acknowledge publicly, as is defined by Virginia law, did not disclose this information to the public. So they specifically said, and lied to the parents when the parents questioned them about this, because the father was talking about it, said, no, we do not have any accounts of sexual assault in our schools or in locker rooms for any reason, under any guise, at all. Full on lied to everybody. The information finally came out. The investigative reporting was done. Turns out they were just completely 100% political animals and lied to you, the American public, specifically the Virginia public, about what was going on in the schools and the politics surrounding the reasons why it was kept quiet. Major issue. And my hope is that because the parents are mobilized, because people are interested and concerned now, this is going to be a problem that unseats all of the school board. Anybody who was in there, anybody who participated in that lie, should be gone. We have recognition that everybody on that school board was at least aware of it, if not intimately engaged with the process to make this happen. Votes in 2020 to deny that schools should have to make this report only further the culpability of these folks. It's the worst version of this story you can imagine. Every opportunity they had to do the right thing, they did the wrong thing, which reminds me of another organization that we need to talk about right now, which is the Biden administration. Same thing happened with the Biden administration when it came to Afghanistan. Over and over again, we were told one thing only to find out through further information, deeper reporting, the news media doing its job, that they were lying all along. When Joe Biden said that none of his advisors told him that a small contingent of soldiers should stay in Afghanistan to maintain security or to do the exfil up there. Total lie. Every one of those advisors came forward and said, no, we told him. We had that. That's exactly what we were talking about. And he just completely denied it. That's a lie. It's a flat out lie. Over and over and over again when it came to Afghanistan, that was something that was done consistently to throw us off of what was actually happening. Now you say politicians lie all the time. Absolutely. This is where things are changing, though, is that people are starting to hold them accountable for these lies. It used to be something we just handled, we took. It's no longer acceptable. And I think a lot of that happened during the Trump administration because Trump lied so much, so often about even the most ridiculously minuscule, seemingly completely worthless things. People started keying on it and saying, no, like it's just on a base level, you can't tell me that this is the best that's ever been when I've got numbers that show explicitly that it is not. So we're not going to accept this. And the media was so engaged in making sure that everything that Donald Trump said was fact-checked and checked and double-checked and called out as a lie when it was a lie, especially even some things that weren't lies. And they just sort of made them up. But they were so gung-ho about going after that now it seems that we're getting a lot more of that from everything, that anytime anybody lies, it's being called out. This extends further when we look at Anthony Fauci. And over again during COVID, we're finding out that he's been lying to us. He lied to us about whether or not masks were necessary at the beginning. He lied to us about when he thought this would be over mid-year. He lied to us about when opening ups were going to happen, how effective the vaccine was, and what was going to work, what wasn't, what therapeutics were going to work, what wasn't, whether or not Donald Trump was listening to everything he said and when he didn't. All of that stuff was lies, and it's being called out. And one of the biggest one that Fauci was lying on is the gain of function research that was occurring in Wuhan. The only way that you can accept what Fauci has been saying, that it wasn't gain of function, is if you believe that his turn of phrase and the reason why he changed specifically, not the industry, why he changed the definition of gain of function specifically during the project that was gain of function research to say that it wasn't, is for completely innocuous reasons. It's just coincidental that when gain of function research was shut down, he changed the definition of what they were doing from gain of function to something that was just slightly outside of gain of function to be able to continue that research, to be able to continue to fund his friends and the organization with which he's closely affiliated. And that's why it wasn't gain of function research, and that's why it continued, and that's why it broke loose and ended up unleashing COVID on the rest of the world. All of those things, if you were to believe that, you would have to think that it's just purely coincidence all the way down the line. We've seen no other reasons, the bat theory. We have seen no animals come forward. We have not found the animals that have done this. Typically that is done within 6 months to a year of any of these breaking out. When it happened with SARS, when it happened with bird flu, all of those things. All of those animals were found and figured out. Not so much with this. But we do know the research that was going on in Wuhan prior to COVID. We do know what was happening that was being funded by Anthony Fauci, and we do know that it was closely linked, resembling, and explicitly tailored to create what COVID eventually became. So again, could be just purely coincidence, but the important thing here is that they lied to you. It's been a lie after lie after lie after lie. And the great news, and the thing that should be very encouraging, even though this seems pretty dark, is that all of these lies are starting to be hammered out. All of these lies are starting to be put forth in front of the American people, and rather than accepting them, they are pushing back against it. They are not tolerating it. They are not accepting of it. They are not being okay with being lied to any longer. And that is the best thing that's happened in America in a long time. We continue to see these lies push forward. We're continuing to see it when it comes to the $3.5 trillion bill and that it's going to cost nothing, but there's pushback. There's finally a contingent of people that is saying, no, I'm not going to accept you lying to me, bald-faced, and I'm going to tell you that it's a lie, and we're going to press you for further details, Even though the Biden administration seems unwilling to give any of those details, the fact that we are pressing forward further and further, the fact that we seem angry about being lied to, is a positive. It's a good thing. Feed that fuel. Make sure that everybody around you is feeding that fuel. Make sure they understand they are being lied to, and call on their integrity, call on their desire for the truth, call on just generalized humanity, saying we will not accept you lying to us, especially about important things like Afghanistan, about school safety, about world safety, and the greater good when it comes to disease. All of these things, that needs to be that pushback. There needs to be that silent majority that's finally stepping up, standing forward and saying, I will not accept the lies that you're going to tell me over and over again. And if you continue to do it, I will bounce you right out of your job. It's that simple. Keep pushing. Thank you again for watching Drawn and Cornered. This is Chad. We do these every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, assuming we don't catch another ban from YouTube. We will be doing ones on the weekend if anything big pops up. If you like that sort of thing, subscribe down below, hit that bell so you get notifications every one of those days and don't miss a single episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again on Monday.